Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to this Christmas Hackathon presentation. I'm Shashi Low. Um, I guess I'm a senior UX engineer at Microsoft. Me and my Mike Chen, we have this Discord group called Let's Get Technical, and I have a side project called Grand Survivor. And during the holiday season, we usually get slow. So I said, hey, you know what? Like, why don't we just do a hackathon instead to have some fun and also like decompress from the project itself and do something cool. So we were able to get two teams, teams of six each, and today they are going to present their projects that they are building. But first off, the reason why we did this is because it allows the team members to kind of stay busy, build camaraderie, and also collaborate. And the whole point of this is so that they can use whatever stack they want. They're also using AI. It's a Secret Santa app. And so these individuals are able to kind of collaborate together, build a project in the end. And I haven't seen any of the project. I've only seen screenshots and stuff. I intentionally want to stay away so that I could be surprised. Same with the other judges as well. This first stream is just presentations on the projects, and then we will have a judges stream in 2 weeks' time, where three judges will come, myself included. Where we will look into the application itself, deeply into the UX, the code base, and all that stuff, to provide a grade for the project. And then in the end, the winners will receive prizes. So what I have is I'm going to show the prizes right now. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So the team prizes. Each individual member that wins this hackathon will receive. Oh, this is the wrong one. It's okay. The Dream Studio logo is gone. Will receive a 6-month subscription to Front End Masters, and then each one also receives a Dream Studio Lite video course. In all these, I'll show the websites for all of these as well. And then you also receive a 20-minute review session with the man, the myth, the legend, Danny Thompson. You know what? I'm gonna find the prompt really quick. If you give me a second here. And read it off before we start. If I could find it. Does anybody have it on hand? I should have found this.
Board up project?
Yeah. Okay, got it. All right, so this is the prompt that I gave each team. Greetings, elves. Christmas is around the corner, and Santa needs your help. Billions of people participate in Secret Santa, and many of them have no idea what they want for Christmas. Vice versa, many giftsters have no clue what kind of gift to give and and want to ensure they're buying something valuable for their Secret Santa. Santa needs a web application built that allows the users to log in and provide what they enjoy in life. This will help Secret Santa individuals narrow down a gift using El Katana, which is the Secret Santa AI technology. So using this technology, it's a special algorithm. It gathers users' likes, hobbies, and users' groups' spending budget to help find the best gift options. Who wants a lousy gift that was sitting in storage? No one. Allow Alcantara to find the gifts for individuals that won't be forgotten after a day of gift exchange. Here are the requirements. Santa wants the users to be allowed to save their profile. He also wants the ability for the user to fill out their likes or hobbies via text or image. Also, the ability to create groups and provide a budget for that group. And then you must use AI to help find the gifts. So that was the prompt that I sent to teams. And now I'm going to go to the sponsored gifts again. I have some screens. Wonder if that's going to share just that window. Hope this works. Oh, it does. Okay, cool. The first one is Front-End Masters. Some know, some don't know what Front-End Masters are. They are a company that builds courses utilizing industry leaders to be the instructors. But as I go down here, like you can see, obviously they focus on the front end stack, JavaScript, React, TypeScript, Node, and all of that. The one thing that I really like is if you go to courses, you can search for the course you want. Let's say if you want to learn TypeScript, right? You can search TypeScript, and it'll filter down to all the TypeScript courses, and you can choose and start that course if you want. And one cool thing is, let's say I want to look at this Making TypeScript Stick with Mike North. I can go ahead and watch the preview, and it's a 13-minute preview. You can, as an example, that way you can gauge and see if that's something that a learning style you want, and also the instructor. Can you guys hear the audio when I played it? No. Oh, how do I do that? Because I'm gonna need that. That's okay. We'll skip that. The other thing that I really like is if you go to learn, there are learning paths. So let's say I am a beginner, right? And I go to the beginner path. Now there's a path that I can take, right? From intro to web development to CSS to basics of JavaScript, CSS fundamentals, like all the way down. And then you have elective courses where now you're like, you know what? I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to look at, Linux and command line. You can do that. Or you could say, you know what, I want to go into design to code. So now it starts off here where you start with the most basics, right? And then you move your way down. So there's guided courses where you can, guided paths where you can watch these videos, watch these courses, and learn along the way. That way you're not just randomly finding videos. Like these are guided paths where you can take. Pretty cool, huh? All right, the next one is Dream Studios course. This is created by Kevin Shen and his team. This course is amazing. Like Kevin Shen is so meticulous, and he's so great with like identifying things to make your setup better. So like it says here, if you want to do like podcasting or making videos or just making your setup better, this course is it. Like, how do I share my, let me try this again. I'll also share tab audio. Yeah. You guys couldn't hear it when I played it earlier? No?
No, I couldn't hear it.
Let's try this again. Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear anything.
It's so loud in my face. Okay. I'll just play this and I'll just what do you call it? Dub it for you guys. So what Kevin's doing is he's just saying like, if you want to create, you want to have a good setup, then he's going to help you set it up, right? With this course, it's going to go step by step on how you can do that, and it goes through like camera setup, lighting, and all of that. So I'm not going to play this because the audio doesn't work, but if you want to, it's dreamstudiocourse.com. Fantastic course. Definitely highly recommend it. I think he has some free resources on YouTube as well. So if you want to check that out, you can. But if you want to go further than that, definitely look at enrolling to the Studio Lite or even the Studio course. All these videos are fantastic, and hopefully you can get a setup like this. Here's some examples. I'm going to zoom in. So here's some student transformations. As you see, left to right, plain and set up, and now on the right side, like nice and cool and subtle and nice pop. This one's a really big change. A lot of us right now have this setup, right? The white background. And now it's like, look at the angle. Now the angle is better, right? Like shifted angle in the room, lighting's better, camera's obviously better, and all of that. And then this guy here, Ray, where it was just straight up and now it's back further. The lighting's better, it's darker, the room's dark. All of these things, this contrast makes it a better feel, right? More professional and all that stuff. So winners will receive the DIY course for the Dream Studio course. And then lastly, you will receive a 20-minute session with the man, Danny Thompson. He will either review your LinkedIn or your resume or whatever you want, but each individual will receive a one-on-one session with Danny Thompson. Awesome. The next thing that we wanted to do is have each team present their projects. Again, I haven't seen these projects firsthand. I've seen screenshots and them talking about it, but we're all here to be amazed and surprised by it. So I'm going to remove the team members that are not from the Guardians of Get, which is the first team. I need to find all your team names here. Okay, so we have I'm removing you. Richard getting removed. Dom is here. Alex.dev. Cody is here. Jen and Thomas. Awesome. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Eddie can't make it. Okay. You guys gotta have his video.
He dropped out, so he's not going to be participating.
Oh, okay. Oh. See, Dom's going twice. Got it. All right. Take it away.
All right, cool. I guess I'll get started. So our project is called Algorithm. Like you said, it's a Secret Santa app. Me, Alex, Thomas, Cody, and Jen have been working on this for the past month through the holidays. The general format is that we're going to be going through piece by piece and demoing certain features and aspects of it. We used Next.js. It's full stack JS. We use Superbase for our backend as a service. Our styling library is ShadCN, which is just Radix components with Tailwind CSS on top. And we're using OpenAI for the core meat and potatoes of this. I think Cody is the one following me up and kind of kicking this off. So I'm going to pass it off to him.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our authentication and onboarding. I'll go ahead and am I able to share my screen here?
Yep. Once you pull it up, I'll bring it on screen.
Okay. Alrighty. So like I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about how we implemented authentication as well as our onboarding flow. So for our auth service, we opted to go with Superbase auth. Like Dom mentioned, we're using Superbase as our database, so it integrates really well with their auth service. Additionally, we want to do it for security reasons. Superbase auth is a battle-tested solution with plenty of security features out of the box. And then similarly, we chose to opt just for Google OAuth. For similar reasons, everybody and their mother has a Gmail account, and we can also leverage their security features to authenticate our users. So basically, once a user has been authenticated, they'll be redirected to our onboarding page here. And here's where we're going to capture all the data to build out a gift portfolio or a gift profile for our user. So I'm going to look at some of the data that we're capturing here. We're going to get the user's name. We're going to get their age range, so we can suggest an age-appropriate gift.
Can you zoom in?
Oh, sorry. Let's see. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
So here we're going to capture their interests. We have a few categories they can choose from. If they want to get a little bit more specific, like for instance, I like playing pickleball, I could go ahead and enter that here. Additionally, you can add any restrictions. This can be like allergies, any dislikes. For me, I hate gift cards, so please don't buy me any gift cards. And finally is our gift compass. So here's where our users can kind of fine tune what kind of gifts they would like to receive within the categories that they previously selected. For instance, if they want a gift that's more fun or a gift that's more adventurous, they can fine tune that exactly how they like. And then once they submit this form, either it'll create their gift profile or they can update their gift profile in the database. So one thing I wanted to get a little bit more in depth on was how we used Supabase auth and middleware to protect our routes. So to do that, I'm going to show off some code here. Hopefully you can see that.
Yep. Good to see it.
And that's big enough to see?
Yep. Looks good.
Perfect. So like I mentioned, we're using middleware to protect our routes. For anyone that may not be aware, middleware are functions that can run in between the request response cycle of an HTTP request. So anytime our user is requesting some kind of resource, we can run a middleware function. And this can be used for things like logging, can be used to validate data that's sent in the request, can use for handling errors. And for our case, we're using it to protect our routes and authenticate our users. And that logic lives in this update session function, which I'm going to show off really briefly here. Basically, what this function is going to do is it's going to call this get user method from Supabase auth. And this is going to check our tokens and it's going to authenticate our user. And then down here on line 41, we have a conditional statement. And this basically contains all of our unprotected routes. So these are any routes that a user that is not authenticated can go ahead and access. Any protected routes are any routes that are not included in this conditional statement here. And in that case, if a user is trying to access this protected route and they're not authenticated, on line 50, we're going to go ahead and redirect the user back to the route path, which in our case is our landing page. So one thing I did want to talk about is why we chose this approach. We chose this approach over protecting our routes on a page-by-page basis for a couple reasons. One being that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So one of the reasons we chose the middleware approach is for performance reasons. So this way, by intercepting the request and redirecting the user, we're preventing any unnecessary page loads. And also with this approach, we're centralizing all of our auth logic in one place. So anytime we need to add a protected route or an unprotected route, we just add it to this middleware function. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to pass it off to, I think, Jennifer now.
Can't hear you, Jennifer. Still can't hear you. Check the settings in the browser. It might be on the wrong input.
I think there's a settings icon at the bottom. If you click on that, you can kind of adjust or choose the camera and audio input.
Okay, how about now?
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
All right.
Can you zoom in a little bit too?
Yes.
A little bit more?
Well,
Okay. Thank you.
cool. So I will be presenting the dashboard, creating a gift exchange group, and the profile. So after you're done onboarding, you'll be redirected, as Cody explained, through the middleware to the dashboard. And in the dashboard, you should see all the groups you are a part of. That also includes the groups you create. You're automatically a member of it. And in each group, you can see, overview of how many members there are, when the draw date is. You can click on and view details for each group. I'm gonna go back and I'll create a group and kind of show you the flow of that. So after creating the create group button, you can set the group name. So I'll put, LGT, put, test group. You can optionally select one of these images. So I'll pick the first one. You can select the price range. So I'll do $50 to $60. You can set the gift drawing date. So I'll do today, and the exchange date. So when exchange when. So I'll put a week from now. And I'll click create group. Let's load, and I'll redirect you to the group that was just created. For the exchange to work, it'll need 3 more people. This notified here, and you can see more details about each exchange. Optionally, if it's a group that you created yourself, you can edit the group details. So if you wanted to change the name, the description, just you said the image, or optionally delete the group, that's also an option. I'll go ahead and delete, just to give an example. It'll delete it, and in the dashboard, it'll no longer be visible. So for the next part, I'll show the profile. And to navigate to the profile, you'll click on the image of your profile in the corner. So this is like the profile card you'll see. As you saw in the onboarding, it'll show the categories that you picked. So these are mine, your interests, the things you want to avoid, and then the settings on you kind of like lean towards, like I put more practical, like cozy, like kind of middle. So if it's your own profile, you have the option to edit. So saying like I wanted to change that, I can go through the whole onboarding process again, and I can change name, age, like categories to say I like, I don't want food or cooking and arts and crafts, and I'm not really picky about what I want to avoid. And then maybe I want something more practical, purposeful, maybe like really bold and adventurous. And then I'll in that flow, and as you can see, it did update. You can also, if I go back to the dashboard, you can also, if you're looking at the details of an exchange, so I'll click on this one, and you're curious about another member in that exchange, you can click on their profile and it'll take me to Cody's, and I can see what Cody put for his. And I'll pass it off to, I believe, Dom for the next part.
That's me. Alrighty. Good job, Jen. Seriously. Crushed it. Let's see. Share my screen. Let's do the whole window. Awesome. I guess if you guys could let me know when it's up on the big screen.
It is up.
Perfect. So what I'm going to be kind of going over is specifically 2 features on the actual gift exchange page. The draw gift exchange, and then the invite link down here. Now, we meet kind of the minimum criteria for drawing a gift exchange on this page, which is that we have 3 or more users. Obviously, if you only had 2, you'd just be drawing each other, and that's kind of pointless. So we're going to go ahead and click this button, and we have a confirmation dialog. And now what's happening as the page is reloading is that we're running a sorting algorithm to match each user to another user. We're updating that record. And then what we're doing is we're actually sending the user preferences to ChatGPT. And we're going to reload this. And we have a gift suggestion right here. Now, this whole page, if we scroll back up a little bit, I've been matched with Cody. I can see that He has interests or books and stories. It looks like there's some test data here. And then we have some sliders based upon the percentages of which he identifies with being practical, whimsical, or liking cozy or like more adventurous or luxurious gifts. When we get down to each gift card, we're able to get a percentage-based match within the price criteria, as well as some other information. And I believe someone else is getting into this in a bit, but we can even recycle these. We can recycle each gift suggestion within the price range, which is pretty cool. Scrolling back up, we have the invite link, which is now gone, which is awesome. But on the previous screen, on the previous screen before you draw, there is an invite link. Essentially, how that works, I have a little cheat up. It's just sending you the actual link or the URL to a different gift exchange. And so right here, I have one already pulled up for sake of ease of use. And so we are not in this gift exchange, but we are on the page. And so we have some middleware logic to filter that out. If I am not in the exchange for the page I'm on, we get a dialog to confirm I want to join or not. And it tells us the relevant group info. We go ahead and click join, and then boom, we're in, and we can do it all over again, basically. And I think that covers my end of things. Is it Alex who's next, or is it Thomas? I'm not too sure.
It's me.
Perfect.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep. Perfect. Can hear you.
Awesome. Can you all see that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
So to kind of pick up where Dom left off on the draw exchange button, so I'm going to kind of talk about more in depth of what that entails with the AI. So I have my group set up, and my Secret Santa match is Jen here. And if you scroll down, like after a little bit of time, once everything's loaded, it has 3 separate gift suggestions from the AI. So let me go ahead and pull up my code, and I'm going to kind of talk about how that happens. So let me go ahead and go into the route. And in the route, when you click the draw gift exchange button, what's basically happening is it's matching everybody up, just like how Dom was saying. Everyone is getting their own like Secret Santa match. Once that happens, the function will go through and call this function right here, generate and store suggestions. And this function right here is what the AI does. So what happens first with the AI is it grabs your Secret Santa match, it grabs their profile information. Once it has their information, it's going to prompt the AI, which this is the variable prompt. And what it does is we're asking the AI to take on the role of the Secret Santa, generate 3 personalized gift suggestions based on the person's profile information. So the first thing is it's going to pass in the budget of the gift exchange, whether that be $40, $50, or $100. Once it has that information, it's going to get the recipients, like your Secret Santa matches person's profile. It's going to get their age group, their hobbies, things to avoid, and all their categories that they picked, as well as their preference scales. Once the AI has all this information, we then prompt the AI to provide for each response that it brings back. We make sure that it provides a title with it, the price of that item that it returns, a brief description, 2 to 3 reasons why, and then a match score for that. And then the key part right here is we tell it to return as a JSON object, so that way we can import it and render it within Next.js. And then this code right here is just the type of AI we're using. We're using GPT 3.5. And then this code right here, basically what it does is the response that it gets back it cleans it up perfectly to where we can use it on the front end very seamlessly as parse response. And then once it has that clean suggestion, it's going to insert that new data into the database under the gift suggestions for that specific person. So once that is all updated in the database is when everything renders here. And the cool things about these is we also added in with the AI for feedback suggestions where, let's say for this one, for this gift, $130, like let's say I do not this, like that's too expensive. It's going to reprompt the AI to go grab another gift and then replace that gift in the database, which Pickleball Paddle said, which is perfect for you. And to kind of talk about the feedback, like not their style or they might have this, it's going to reprompt. And what's happening underneath the hood is it's reprompting the AI just because the AI that we're using, it doesn't have a memory database to go off of. We're just kind of simplifying things and just reprompting. So it's doing the same thing when it gets the feedback, it's running this function, getting their profile information again, getting all their preferences. And the thing that changed is now we're prompting it saying, hey, we're going to provide one gift for you. Here's the gift information. Once you have that one gift information, we're also going to provide the feedback. And with that feedback and information, replace it with another gift to replace in the database. And then once it prompts through, we go ahead and clean it up, get the clean suggestion, and then we go back to the gift suggestions in our database, and then we replace it with that new gift. And this basically what's happening under the hood with the AI is just reprompting it, replacing that gift, and updating the database with it. And the really cool thing that I like too is we have this view button for the gifts. Like let's say I want to get the pickleball paddle set for Jen because she loves pickleball. And I can just go ahead and click view. Oops, sorry. Let me go ahead and click view. And of course, this runs into an issue, but basically what should be happening is it should be navigating to Amazon to where this gift title name should be in the search bar of Amazon. So all you have to do is just click view and it takes you to Amazon and you can just buy the gift for it. But yeah, with that, that's all the AI, and I will be passing this along to Thomas to present.
Cool. Awesome work, Alex. So yeah, let me share my screen. Get this to work. Okay. All right. Let me know if you can see the PowerPoint slide and just the PowerPoint slide.
Yep. I can see the whole window. There's two
Okay.
tabs.
Okay. Let's not do that.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Oh, the two tabs. Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't see my notes, right?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be too distracting. Okay, cool. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm Thomas. You guys all just saw the amazing tech demos from the team. Now I want to put on my PM hat and share the product decisions that shaped algorithm. There's a lot of brainstorming and discussions that we had, especially early on. So the core problem that we're tackling is gift-giving anxiety in Secret Santa. The apps right now in the market, when you get matched, you just buy whatever is on people's wish lists, which removes the thoughtfulness from the gift giver and removes the excitement from the recipient. Now, we wanted to use AI, but we also wanted to go beyond just another LM wrapper. We have a unique advantage that sets us apart when we match. We have access to both the gift giver's intent and their match's preferences. This is data that ChatGPT alone can't access. We spent a lot of time figuring which data points would yield the highest quality suggestions. We also didn't want to overwhelm the user with too many inputs, like when you saw in the onboarding with Cody. We wanted to pick the right inputs, and we want to do it in a fun way, like the GIF compass, the UI with the sliders. Because at the end of the day, the quality of output depends entirely on the quality of input we provide. So the magic happens in our two-stage recommendation engine. First, we cast a wide net with 3 initial suggestions, and we decide on 3 because 5 would be a little bit too overwhelming. And then we have our feedback loop because we understand that maybe those GIFs aren't perfect. And then users are able to use that feedback loop to kind of give feedback to say it's too expensive, not their style. Maybe they already have this GIF already, and we'll use that to not just generate like random new suggestions. We use that to refine based on the feedback and make each new suggestion more targeted. And they can keep on doing that until they get their perfect gift. And by the way, we've added match scores and match reasons. And this builds user confidence. And ultimately, it would increase gift purchases through our links, which I'll explain later. But for our tech stack, we chose ChatGPT 3.5, which was about $3 per million input tokens. And we felt like that was a great middle ground. But with new LLMs coming out every month, that is both smarter and cheaper, we made our infrastructure easy to switch between the different LLMs as the market evolves. For example, AWS just revealed their LLM offerings last November in reInvent. And they have a model called Amazon Nova Micro, which is a third of the cost of our current ones. So over time, it'll get smarter and cheaper, and our application will grow. So obviously those cost money. How do we make money, right? So it's through our affiliate partnerships. And that is, we're partnering with retailers like Target, Amazon, Etsy. We're earn about like a 4% commission. That's a industry standard. And that happens when users purchase the items in our links. And by the way, we didn't integrate this Amazon affiliates because there's a whole process to it. There's a whole business process to it, and it wouldn't fit for a hackathon. But if we had more time, we would do something like this. So now, how do we measure success, right? The great thing about our business model is that our success metrics perfectly align with user satisfaction. The direct connection means that better gift suggestions naturally lead to a higher user satisfaction and overall increased revenue. And to the point, we can use this success metric when we implement A/B testing with different LLMs, and we can see which models and pricing strategies lead to better purchases, effectively letting the users decide which model or method is best. And ultimately, it's a win-win, right? Better suggestions lead to more purchases, which means both happy users and sustainable revenue. And that's the rough idea. We're not just building another app. We believe this app solves a real problem and has a real business outlook. Thank you. And I think that's it. I guess I can pass it off to Joshi.
Cool. Awesome project. How do I switch this so that's all of us? No, that's just you. Great job, everybody. Great job presenting and showcasing your application. Obviously, I'm not going to say much right now until our judges stream. But I have some questions I wanted to ask the team. And anybody answer or everybody answer. But what was the most rewarding for this hackathon?
I can go first. For me, it was being able to wear different hats. Usually hackathons, you think of like just design or just develop it. I was able to do something that I initially don't do, which is like back-end development, design stuff, and also like think of like the bigger picture. So I get to do that with a lot of great people, as you can see.
I can go next. Personally, for me, I've been in a few hackathons and they've all been kind of rough and tumble. It was really incredible to me how fast the team came together and had affiliate link strategies, designs, and then even having like testing environments and all this stuff to make sure like PR reviews in a hackathon. We really came together and kind of set standards early and then maintain standards. And that's something I haven't had in a hackathon team in some places I've worked. So just really cool to see. Love these guys.
Okay, if you won't answer that one, then you'll answer my next one. What was the most difficult? What was challenging? No, you can't go again, Dom. Sorry.
Like technical wise or just like overall?
It could be anything. It could be teamwork. It could be technical. It could be working with AI. It could be the
Yeah,
timeline, right?
timeline. I think the hardest part, and I think everyone can like agree with this, was like it was just working through the holidays. So like I think if you saw just the activity and the amount of like time like on a graph, like it was like exponential at first, and then the second like the holiday hit, like everyone just kind of like like it just died down a lot. And I think that was probably the same across like maybe like both teams. So that was definitely challenging. It was hard to like try to like get everything done in the way like we wanted to near the end. I think once the holidays kind of like died down, we were able to get some last minute stuff added. But I think like if we didn't have the holidays in between, I think we probably would have been able to get more stuff added, like test it more thoroughly, like have a better quality product. But so that was definitely a challenge. And yeah, I guess with the AI part, I think Alex might have a better answer for that one. But that was that was definitely a difficulty for this project.
Yeah, it could be anything. Most challenging, Alex, Cody.
Yeah, kind of what Jen was saying about the AI. I will say that was like pretty like a little bit difficult, more so of the way like figuring out how to prompt it to specifically return what we wanted, plus also automating it, inserting that data into the database, and then retrieving it to put onto the front end. So I think that was like a little difficult getting the gift information, storing it so that way whenever the page refreshed, it didn't generate three new ones and it always had like the same three.
Awesome. Last question. How was your experience working with AI? Was it fun? Was it not great? Was it cool? AI is taking over the whole development world right now with robots, with Devin AI, with ChatGPT, with Copilot going free right now, have a free tier. Cody, you're up.
Well, Alex is mostly dealing with the AI in this project, but I think it's really exciting. This is like my first time having experience with that, so I'm really excited to kind of use it in the future and kind of push it a little farther than we did in this project. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was just kind of saying real quick that like it was honestly a lot of fun working with AI. Like it was really cool that we were able to have it give us an answer in the form of an object to be able to store in a database, retrieve it, and then render it specifically how we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was just so much fun. And like I'm even working on a personal project now with AI.
Awesome. Now, aren't you glad I pushed you to use AI? Sweet. Any last words from the Guardians of Git? Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Or am I'm not muted. Great. I just wanted to thank everyone that tuned in. You know, it's obviously us coming together and doing this as a team is really awesome. And shout out to everyone involved. But, you know, the people that are just stopping by on their nights just to check this out, really appreciate all y'all.
Definitely. All of our friends and all people watching and future people, individuals as well, because this is all recorded. Thank you so much for coming and watching these two teams. Means a lot because many of these individuals are looking for a job, and this hackathon is a way for them to build camaraderie, work together, and showcase what they've built, and hopefully to get a job out of this. So, if you're looking, there's many individuals here that are looking for jobs. Awesome. I'm gonna transition to Cold Blooded. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's start removing you guys. Kick you off. Bye bye. Just kidding. You're still here. It's just you three. Is that correct?
Leah's gonna be arriving soon.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, you are the second team. We have two teams, and this is a second team. Their team name is Cold Blooded. So, go ahead.
Hi, like Chelsea said, we're Cold Blooded. I am the team leader of our hackathon group, Richard, but you can call me Rich. And I was the team leader and the designer and PM. And I'm just going to start off by presenting what I worked on. I'm just going to share my screen. Alrighty. Think I should be able to do this. Yeah. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So starting off, we needed to create the designs for the application. And as someone who's not a designer at all, I wasn't sure where to start in terms of grabbing inspiration and where I wanted to go in terms of direction regarding color or how the UI would look or how the application would flow. So after some thinking and collaboration with the team, I decided to grab inspiration from similar applications that had similar functionalities to what Shashi was requesting for the hackathon. And so I went out of my way, well, our team went out of our way to look for design inspirations regarding font and coloring and things like that. And so what you see here is just a small collection of what Em and me kind of put together in terms of the project design inspiration. And from there, we were able to kind of take that into our core of our application and kind of build out what we wanted to build. And so in order to push our application forward towards our direction, I also stepped into the unknown territory of just designing the applications from scratch. And so these are just some of the rough drafts I made for some of the pages of the application. Obviously, this doesn't reflect what the application currently looks like, but these are just the prototypes of what I wanted in terms of the look and the feel of the application. And outside of that, that's kind of just how I started off with the design. I'll leave the more detailed designs for Ryan and Em later down. But I kind of just wanted to show you a little sneak peek of what it looks like here. And you can see here that we kind of had a mobile first approach for our application because, well, I made this decision with Ryan because decision was made because I felt like most of the projects that I made desktop first kind of struggled a bit with scaling to smaller devices. So I felt that it would be better to scale upwards. And so I just wanted to give that a try. And it turned out to be a great decision. And it worked out perfectly for our application. Going mobile first was definitely a positive direction to go towards for our application regarding that. And unfortunately, due to Figma restrictions, I couldn't create a separate page for this. But I created a very simple, very raw design of how I wanted the flow of the application to go for the user logging into the application, and how I wanted the user to kind of be directed towards when they visited the application. This was the initial design, and due to time constraints, we didn't quite get to this destination for the application, but we definitely got to certain goals and destinations of what we wanted to get to for our application, which you'll see later on for other presentations. And then lastly, I just wanted to show the initial design for the backend. So the idea behind my design for the backend was just to focus purely on MVP, and it was inspired by this from working with Gridiron Survivor, just being a part of Gridiron Survivor, being a part of that MVP process. I knew that I needed to cut down on a lot of the extra fluff in the beginning, like any ideas that I felt like, oh, this would be a nice to have, but it's not necessarily must have that will break the functionality of this application if it didn't exist in the application. So that's why I focused purely on simple is best first, and then to push out that first, and then if we had time later, we would add on iterate later. And so that's my presentation. And the next up is Ryan. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it today, so I actually have his video recording, and hopefully the video audio works. Let me know, please, if you cannot hear it though.
Hold on. It does not work.
It does not work.
Yeah, mine didn't work either.
Yeah, that's odd. It does have captions on, so I don't know.
Let's see
if it's a StreamYard problem, because
I'm looking at the instructions right now. So when you share your tab, if you go back to share, unshare, and then share again, there should be, when you share a window or tab on the bottom left, there should be like a share audio check mark.
Look for the share audio blocker in the next window. Okay.
Share audio check mark.
It says also share tab audio. Okay, let me try this.
Yeah, I tried that too.
Oh,
there we go.
December.
Oh, yay!
Because when I was in Texas with Shashi and Richard,
from the beginning.
We needed some help.
I'm sorry.
Start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. Okay.
Yep.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Furrer. I'm a front-end engineer based in New York. I joined the hackathon a little bit late, in the middle to late December, because when I was in Texas with Shashi and Richard, they mentioned that they needed some help. And although knowing I didn't have a lot of time, I was happy to contribute where I could. So where I largely contributed was the design, the CSS, and a couple of components and one major layout, the gift exchange. So first I wanted to talk through the Figma file really quickly. So this was a sort of collaborative effort between myself, Richard, and M. Richard would throw some ideas in here. We'd talk in Discord, we'd iterate. I came up with some really just standards that we were going to go by. So not a full-fledged design system, but something at least that we could work through. We did end up changing some of this, but that's something that I want to talk about in the future. So first thing I did was I went to coolers.co. I looked for a color palette. There's a bunch pre-generated. You just search a theme that you're looking for. You can find a ton of them. It's a great, great website that I've been using for years. I found this one. I liked it. I figured I could work with it. Obviously, you're going to expand on this a little bit, as you can see that I definitely did. But then we just kind of got to work. So the first thing we started working on was the homepage and the nav bar. Overall, I feel like the design came together pretty nicely for a hackathon project. Is it perfect? No. But no hackathon project or MVP is going to be, right? You just want to get it out there. So the way that I design is I don't make everything pixel perfect. I get the idea from my brain onto paper or into the design file, and then I code and iterate and so forth. So just sort of threw our designs in here, chatted, and made some changes. So this was one example of the gift exchange that Richard had, and this eventually became something closer to what we see down here. So I just sort of iterated on it, and once you see the full-fledged version, I think it came out pretty good looking. We had some other ideas here, such as selecting your hobbies. This was my idea, using a pill, sort of like a filter interface that you could see on like a lot of shopping sites and so forth. So this was our Figma file. And as you can see, we had several iterations of the same thing. So we have our ideas dashboard, and we were just working through different ideas, how we should use it, how we should share the information, what was necessary, etc. And eventually, I like what we ended up on. So let's dive into the code super quick. I'm already logged in here. So in our CSS file on the right, we're using Tailwind with React, Laravel as the backend. This is just something that I've gotten into the habit of doing in my CSS at the base layer. I go ahead and set some base styles that I like. For example, for all of our headings, we have a font bold. We're using Baskerville. Leading, which is the line height of none, and tracking tighter means that you're shrinking down the spacing between letters. Typically, this is something I just like to do. And again, I was designing it, so I said, let's go for it. What's really important down here are our CSS variables. For those of you that have worked with ShadCN UI, this might look familiar. I really like their naming convention for the variables. I've actually since started iterating a little bit on it for my personal projects, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It's very logical. CSS variables are really important in any project, I feel like, but especially a group one. And when you're using Tailwind, it's really easy to keep using the variables over and over in your code. That's just going to lead to bloat and chances that something's going to be wrong or different or whatever. So if you make CSS variables, you can ensure that they're accessible. You can ensure that people know what to use and where to use it. And if you ever want to change things, you just change it in one place and you're good to go. So this is something that I would try encouraging people to do when they were building out components, because I wasn't doing everything. So I had to just tell them how to do it. So for example, we have our primary and primary foreground here. Primary is this red you see, it's the primary color, and then primary foreground is the text color for whatever is on top of that. So when choosing these colors, I did some tweaking to make sure that the colors were accessible and at least met WCAG standards. Really quickly, I just want to show you the dashboard that we saw on our design file, and then gift exchanges. This was the biggest feature that I built out. So here you can see Ryan's gift exchanges. This updates depending on who's logged in. I have various gift exchanges. So family Christmas with a budget of $500. Definitely not Richard Choi wants a Crunchyroll membership, Richard. Maybe you'll get, like, well, I hope you got it for Christmas. You could go ahead and click that and buy now. We have an office party with a $0 budget, which doesn't quite make sense. And here's where you can see that the buy button, you can't actually click it. It's disabled because there's a $0 budget. That's a safety net that we put in. And then friend group. So these are just different gift exchanges that I put together. This is dummy data for my example, but I just used AI to generate a JSON file with a schema structure that I provided it, and it was great. So then I was able to just hook it up. If we look at the code for gift exchange, it's made up of a few different parts. We have the authenticated layout, the gift exchange card, the gift exchange data, which is that JSON file I mentioned, and the primary button. So if we come down here, we could see that we wrap it in a layout. And here we see our gift exchange data.giftexchange.map. We're mapping over the exchanges inside the gift exchanges inside of the gift exchange data. It's taking everything inside of here, looping over it with a structure that I've defined down here and displaying on the page. So down here, we can see that I have the gift exchange card, and that is this, what you're looking at. So definitely not Richard Choi. All the text and the image here, the gradient, is contained within that gift exchange card. And these are just props that it's receiving. If we take a look at gift exchange card, we can see that this is made up of a card component and the secondary button, which is the buy button. And here we can see those props that I was looking for. By default, disabled as false. So only when that budget is $0, like we see with Office Party, should it be disabled. And we can see in here that this is just a card component. Everything has some different styles, and uses the props here to go ahead and display that data. Card is a really basic component that I created. It's just a div with the properties displayed on it. And the reason I made a card component is because chances are this is going to be used elsewhere. And components are really great for reusability. And again, if you design it once, then you know that the colors and everything are good everywhere you use that component. And this is the gift exchange data.json. Again, I used AI to formulate this for my example, but you can see here we have our object, and inside that is an array of gift exchanges, and inside that is an object for each gift exchange. So Family Christmas, if I scroll up real quick, Family Christmas with a total budget of $500. Look at that. Family Christmas with a budget of $500. And then we, of course, have our different recipients and their gift ideas. So that's everything I have for you with the Secret Santa. Thank you, Richard, for having me on your team. I hope I was able to provide some value. And that's it for me. Peace.
So now the next person up is M. So M, please take it away.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily Estabilo and I'm a front-end developer on the Cold-Blooded team. I was involved in the design and front-end implementation of our Secret Santa project. Quickly share my screen. So as previously mentioned, the design process was a collaborative effort with Richard and Ryan. They've already given a detailed breakdown. Thank you very much. I mostly contributed to site inspiration, fonts, and color themes. And after multiple iterations and discussions over chat, we settled on a simple design that will support the site's core functionality. My first front-end task was styling the dashboard page. So this is the page that the user sees right after a successful login. We have a personalized greeting, 4 cards which link to other pages in the site, and a CTA that directs the user to the gifts exchanges page. Under the hood, I don't know if you can see my code. Under the hood, I added a visually hidden heading. In this case, it's dashboard, just to give more context to screen readers. And the cards are actually list items, but they appear interactive. You see it, hover right here. They appear interactive because of a nested anchor tag and a clever CSS technique I picked up from Hayden Pickering's book, Inclusive Components. So this keeps the cards both semantic and accessible. My next task was styling the settings page. So this page allows the user to manage their account information. Here they can update name, email, password, and they can even delete their account should they wish to do so. The page structure was an existing template from our initial Laravel and React setup. So my primary responsibility here was to apply our branding styles and to make sure layout and spacing look presentable. These forms are all functional. To demonstrate, let's change the name to, I don't know, pizza. Hit save. And when we go to the dashboard, we now see the greeting has been updated. Now the display space as the username. The last feature I worked on was the ideas page. So this page was intended to be seen and accessed by people in the same Santa group. So from the gifts exchanges page, if you had clicked on a name on one of these cards, it would take you to the ideas page for that particular group member where you'd see more options on what to give the recipient. Although that idea didn't come to fruition, we of course still wanted to showcase how we implemented the AI. Let's click on the ideas page. So we again have the personalized greeting, and I implemented a simple loading component while we wait for data retrieval to finish. I used the built-in fetch method to retrieve the data to the local API, and once it's done, we get between 1 and 3 gift suggestions. Each card has a title, a preview of what the item looks like, and a link on where to buy the item, which opens on another tab. So it looks something like this. So we are using web scraping for the data, and sometimes we would get broken links and images because of traffic on these stores are high depending on time of day. So for these situations, Alex actually implemented a fallback on the back end, which allowed me to render the store logo in place of the item image, like what we see here. And we now have the Shop Now CTA leading to, oh, let me refresh. So, takes a bit. Now we're getting the images. Anyway, so yeah, right here. So for those kind of situations, we again get the store logo, and the Shop Now CTA now leads to um, the user search page on the respective store. And that should be it from my end. I'm passing the baton to Cody from our front end.
So actually, Cody was not able to make it either. So I have a video for Cody as well. I'm going to share my screen once more. So let's see. This should work since it worked last time. Oh, hold on. Start from the beginning.
What's up, everybody? I'm Cody Johnson. I'm a software engineer based out of Central Texas. I ended up being the last one to join this hackathon group. I met Richard, Leia, a couple of the other ones, Ryan, and then later Sashi at the Commit Your Code conference. It was a couple of days later when I saw Richard and Tessa Kreisel having a conversation in one of her stand-ups about the hackathon. I later reached out to Richard asking about it. I saw that everyone was pretty deep in their own parts of the project. I didn't want to step on any toes and mess anyone's flow up, so I asked Richard what could be done, what needed doing. He ended up setting me up working on the login and register pages, so we can jump into that real quick. Okay, so jumping in here to the Figma files. When I'm working with Figma designs, I always try to break everything down piece by piece and do one thing at a time. I've made mistakes in the past of trying to do it all at once and only hurt myself this way. Breaking it down makes it way less overwhelming. Plus, I found it actually saves time in the long run since I'm no longer getting stuck on things. First and foremost, we needed the app to look and work great on both desktop and mobile. And also, Tailwind was pretty good for this. As you will see or have seen in Ryan's video, he set it all up, so it was very straightforward out of the box, getting everything running. So shout out to him for that. Tailwind, I believe, allowed us to get everything built out super quick and get it in front of Richard so for review. And if he ever needed changes, it allowed for quick follow-ups. At first, we were doing a pretty good job following the Figma template for the design that the team set out and created for us. But towards the end, Richard and Ryan decided to go with a more modern-looking squared-off design for the buttons. I much prefer that over the rounded buttons you see in the Figma file. Richard was there in a Discord chat with me for a good portion of problem solving, trying to get things to work correctly. One of the big issues I was running into was managing conflicts between the direct values and child content and our label components, specifically the input label. In this particular case, we were seeing both the parents' content and child content trying to render at the same time, which was breaking our styling. I figured out a solution using a simple but effective line of JavaScript. Now you see here a ternary operator. This tells the component, hey, if someone passes a direct value prop, use that. But if they don't, show whatever child content they included instead. This cleaned things up by ensuring we only displayed one set of content at a time, keeping our styling intact. Well, that's really everything for me for right now. I do need to get going. I'm running out of time. I gotta go teach class. You have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will be around. I'll be here on Discord. I just want to say quick shout out to the team, Ryan, Leia, Alex, M, and Richard. Y'all absolutely crushed it. It was awesome to get to work alongside y'all, and I'm stoked to get to be part of it, even though I jumped in pretty late. I hope I was of help, but that's it for me. Peace.
And now I'll be transitioning over to Leah.
Hello. Everyone can hear me, right?
Nope, can't hear you. Just kidding.
Okay, good.
Wait, what?
This is not the day to mess with me. Leave me alone. I was like, maybe he just saw my lips and wanted to say, okay, Foster. Well, there's the project. Goodbye. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Thompson. I go by Leah T Codes online. For this project, the main thing I want to talk about is why Laravel was chosen. So I was a big proponent in getting Laravel to be used for this project. The reason I pushed for Laravel to be used for our hackathon project is because with Laravel, they have starter templates like Breeze and Jetstream, which we used Breeze for this specific project. And when you bring in Breeze, it auto sets up authentication. So we already had a login and register page. There was already a way for users to register, and it already dealt with like password hashing and all of that. So we didn't have to bring in like an authentication system or anything like that. It's built in when you use Laravel and when you use Breeze. So it made it easier for us to get started, as well as there's also a resource called Inertia.js, which allows you to write a monolith. So what Inertia.js allowed us to do, or allowed me to do, is in the backend routes, I was able to do inertia render of the components and send the data from the backend as props to those components. And then you could just register or just get them and use them as page props from that component without having to like make separate API requests or anything like that. So it removes the need for a separate API layer. So that made it really easy to work with. Let me try to share my screen. Share screen. Sorry. Screen one. Allow. Okay. You should be able to see it too. I have it zoomed into like 200%.
Yep, can see.
Okay. So I worked on the hobbies front end, and I also worked on the hobbies back end. Right now we're looking at a hobbies test file. So I worked on the back end for hobbies. So I did the hobby controller where I set up an index route, a store method. So the store method is just what allows us to create the hobby. We have an update method, which allows you to update your own hobby, so a hobby that you created yourself, as well as destroy it. I also created a factory, which would generate a new hobby. In this, it's creating a fake name for a hobby name, and it's generating a user using the user factory to get a user ID from it. I used the hobby factory in my test cases that I wrote. So I also did a hobby test file where I was testing the different methods for the hobby controller to make sure all of that was working fine. And then I did the routes for hobby as well, which here. And in this, I'm using inertia like I was talking about. So in the get request for hobby, I'm doing inertia render, and it's rendering my hobbies component, which is the front end part. And it's sending the list of all of the users' hobbies as an array with just the hobby names in them. It's sending that named hobbies to the front end. So on the front end, I'm going to have a prop called hobbies. And then it's also sending the total list, which the total list is, again, this array of all the hobbies, but it's the array of all the hobby objects because I have to pass the specific hobby object to the backend to delete that one. So that is this. And then I also have, I was going to show the front end of hobbies. Where'd it go? There we go. So this is the front end of hobbies. So it says the user's name and then hobbies. And then the ones that are highlighted are the ones that are currently chosen. Whenever you click to deselect it, it will go back to normal. And then you can just click and update these at any time. And these are also partially being used to generate what gift ideas you're getting as well. I think this is all I had to show. But the other things I did besides this is I also did the code reviews for the backend code, since I did peer pressure everyone into using Laravel. I was the main reference for Laravel code and PHP code. So going through, checking all of that. I also deployed our project. Our project is deployed on Laravel Cloud. I'm very thankful to have access to Laravel Cloud, which isn't fully out for everyone to use yet. So it was really nice being able to deploy this on Laravel Cloud because we got it deployed in, I don't know, like a minute, 2 minutes. So that was very quick. And yeah, I think that's it. If anyone thinks I missed anything. Oh, one more thing. I did also help fix certain bugs. I know Rich had an error with we had an error when doing a Gemini request. If you made a request and you were on Windows OS, we ran into an error where it was like an SSL cert error, but it's only on Windows OS. So I only realized it when I had Rich test things out. So I had to like kind of help get in and try to figure out stuff like that. And we got around it by doing, I think we had to add a like verify false where it's not checking for the SSL certification verification. Okay. That's it for me, and I think is on to Alex.
Hello, yeah, my name is Alex, and I was responsible for doing the backend AI generation with the gift ideas. And so there's a lot that I'm going to cover super quickly, but to break it down, when I initially started trying to think of like how to get gift ideas, I was kind of looking at different websites and I wasn't really sure what the clearest path of implementation would be. And so I chose a very difficult path, I'll say that. So I decided to do some web scraping off of Walmart.com. And the reason why I chose Walmart.com is one, it's one of the most widely scraped websites. And with that, the reason why I picked Walmart though is because of how easy it was to search for like specific items while still being fairly vague. Like for example, you could pass into like the URL params like literally just a string. And you'd be like blue basketball, and it would give you a basketball. Very lovely. Um, let's see. And so that was kind of like the idea behind it. And then Leia, she recommended that we use Prism as a way to connect to our Gemini AI model. And so it allowed us, to just kind of, I'll, break it down when I get into it. But the main thing that I ran into during this whole process was really related to like the structured output of Gemini, because Gemini is not currently supported to provide a structured output, unlike like Google's like direct API to or SDK, sorry, to access Gemini. And the reason why we couldn't use this solution to generate JSON, like which was preferred, was because this is specifically for Node and Python. And so, yeah, let me go ahead and kind of show you what my solution was to mitigate the lack of being returned structured data. So when a request comes in from the front end, from the ideas page, what I'm initially doing is I'm just grabbing all the hobbies from the user that's being passed through, and Leia was able to help me get the hobbies just passed through, so I didn't have to work with like the whole user object and go through that route. And so we pass that through, and we just ensure that this is no matter what an array. And then we just, explode the array, just try or implode it just so that we could just make it into a string. And then let's see. So this is where, hang on, sorry. Got a little lost here.
Are you sharing your screen, Alex?
Oh, no. Whoops, my bad. I was getting so
I hear
far
you
ahead of
talking about
myself.
code, but I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm
Wait, hang on.
imagining these things.
Yeah. Just imagine them. It's easier for all of us. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
just want to
All
make
right.
sure.
Select window or screen. Screen one. All right. There we go. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So the way that this works is that I pass through
Can you
the
zoom in
hob.
as well? The font is very
Uh,
small.
let's
If
see. I
not,
could
then it's fine.
see view. How would I zoom in more?
Control plus. Can you try control and then press plus?
Oh,
No?
God. All right, all right. There we go. Beautiful. Is that better?
So I'm on your screen that says the idea behind madness.
Oh, okay. Those are my notes. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I wasn't sure which screen it was going to pop up
All
on.
right. Let's unshare that. Oh, okay. And then
Let's share screen.
let's do that again.
Let's see. Select window. Screen 2. Okay. Now I'm assuming you can see my screen. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. So yeah. So I apologize for all that. So yeah, like I was saying, lay help me on the front end, pass through the hobbies as an array, and we're just grabbing all those, grabbing that input, and then we're just essentially stringifying it. And then I'm just establishing an all found gifts array up here is kind of just like, something to store all of the gifts that we find. Um, and so what happens here is that we query the Gemini in Gemini AI. And so what happened here is that I had my original idea was to do a for loop over it just because the structured data would sometimes come back as JSON, even though like I am like specifically asking for it to return JSON, but there would be times where it returned a little bit more than just that. And I did some exploration of different like wrappers that I could use to see if I could, somehow get a structured like output. And it just seemed like quite a few of them were just like retrying and just kind of brute forcing it, which ran into a couple issues where um, after like so many attempts, the AI would just simply time out. And so, this was my original implementation, and I should, be able to refactor this to no longer need looping because what I decided to do, or what I did is, where's my example response? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Example response. So like the response that would like break the code would be like this, and it'd have like extra, like decorators around it essentially. Um, let's go back up here. Make sure I'm in the right spot. And so I still do the same process here. I'm just replacing all of these like backticks or whatever you want to call them, just making it just an empty string and just kind of parsing and using like a regular expression here to be a little bit more specific. And then I'm passing that into JSON decode, which just essentially allows it to turn it into like an object that you can work with on PHP. And so here I'm just checking to see if like an error occurred. If an error didn't occur, then I would return. If an error occurred and it was, within the loop, then I would just like, or yeah, loop, I would just continue. And then else I would just return null. And so go here, let me see. I'm trying to think. And so then the way that would work is that I would actually pass, where is it? I get lost a little in my code here. Okay. So if Gemini, like for example, if like I queried a language model and for some reason it just didn't like give me anything back, then I would just take like the user's hobbies that I got from earlier from just passing it through, and then I would pass it through our scrape function, and then I would take that data, decode it, and then like just append it to the all found gifts array that I initialized at the very beginning of the function. And then yeah, let's see. And then yeah, this would just be, if the Gemini suggestions weren't null, then we would just do the same idea, but with the Gemini suggestions. And then we would, this part was mostly M and I's doing. We did some pair programming, and we essentially M came up with the idea of like, hey, if this fails, like let's just grab some links from a couple websites with that include like the name of the item that Gemini suggested, and just ensure that there's a link that has that name and return that information. So like if the scraping failed, we would have just a response message of failed. Obviously, if it succeeded, great. Um, and so that kind of brings me to the next part, which talks about the nasty code of the scraping itself. So with the scraping, I used, let's see, I use Guzzle as the HTTP client just to, send the request from the backend to Walmart.com to get the data. And I was using DOM Symphony web crawler. And the reason why I picked these two things is honestly they were just kind of the first two things that popped up, and it seemed like a lot of people had success with them. So I was just like, you know what, why not? And I'm, some familiar with like CSS selectors, which DOM Symphony or Symphony DOM allows you to utilize to be able to access elements on a specific web page. And so that's why I went this route, where they do have this option of node filter path, which seems like it's more specific. But I found, or like I was unsure of how much time I would have to be able to really dive into it to maximize the potential of that. And especially because of like how Walmart's HTML is structured, it is kind of structured in a very anti like scraping practice. So there's like divs upon divs upon divs, which will explain the code that I wrote as well. So a lot of the issues that I was running into scraping outside of just accessing the data, though, was just trying to avoid detection from scraping or from the bots that would prevent me from scraping if I did too many requests one after another. So I use some user agents, which essentially are just different versions of browser. So try to throw it off the scent of being like, oh, I'm using a different browser this time, so it's different. And then I just have it, select a random agent, just randomly, and then I just plug it in here, like I was saying. We have the query parameter just pass through a string for each gift idea. And then this is just initializing the get requests, and I'm just getting the body, getting the HTML document, initializing the DOM Symphony crawler, establishing two empty arrays. This one will hold what is the result of the scrape, and then this is just an image array that just kind of helped me capture the images for each of the items. And so the tough part about this was just trying to figure out like how to access all these elements and how to do it accurately and like forgo all of the things I didn't need. And so right here, I'm just looking for all the anchor tags. And like a lot of the anchor tags, all the anchor tags would have text affiliated to them. So I'm just getting the text and I'm searching, or I'm getting the href, so I can have like the link for the item that I'm searching for. And I found that all the items that were products on the web page used a substring of track in the href, which allowed me to filter and figure out. Let me see. Oh, also I forgot about this part. And then I'm also going through and getting all of the IDs that have this ID, and I'm just using the index because like the way that the page worked is like this would be index 0, index 1, index 2. So I'm just grabbing all of the images off of this, and I'm checking to see if the anchor or the link to that product contained let me see, contained like the, oh man, there's a lot of code. Item name, string. So I'm just essentially ensuring that it doesn't include like a sponsor or shop now or anything like that, because I didn't need those like names and I didn't need those links. So I'm just kind of foregoing that altogether. And if I'm able to find something that has an item name and a link that lines up with that item name, I'm just putting it into the array here. And so then I have two like for loops going on here. One is just, the items that were appended here, and I just set image to nothing, just so then I could add the image later, because I couldn't get it all going in one go. And so, yeah, I'm displaying each item's name into array strings, getting first word of each item name to target items with valid URLs instead of returning URLs that may not be associated with an item. Um, so taking the item, like the item name from the, like right here, right? So I'm taking in that item name. I'm just making it into an array of strings for like between each space that's being separated. And I'm just checking to see like the length of the array of strings. And here I just kind of decided that I wanted to see if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, like, or 3 characters long, or 3 like just segments of like the name of that product, just because I didn't want to have to try to match the whole product name to the URL, because like usually it just, there was too much anti-scraping things going on for me to consistently get that data. And then, like, for example, another issue I ran into with scraping is that they sometimes change the layouts of the pages. And so, like, I previously was able to get the prices for all the items, but they did change it. So I couldn't use the current price as part of the string to get that price, because now they're using like now and doing a lot of different things. And so then I'm just checking to see if we actually have items in this array. If we do, I'm just checking to see if it has an image, if it has a link, if it has an item name. And as long as it does have those things, I return that item. Else I just, return could not find. Um, and so let's see. And so, yeah, that's issue moving target. Yep. And so, like, long story short, like things I would, want to improve in the future is I'd want to consolidate the logic more, just because it is pretty messy and there's a lot of loops and a lot of things going on. And I would utilize Guzzle to work more with like the query parameters, because then I could get like max price and kind of go deeper into that. But our group didn't get that far in the project. And so, yeah, that's essentially what I did for the project. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Cool. Thank you for that. Is there anybody else on your
No,
team?
that's everyone on the team.
Okay. Oops, sorry, Thomas. I won't put you on yet. How do I do this? Cool. Thank you for sharing your project. Again, with this project, you can see how much work was put into it, how much thought, and all of that, right? I won't say too much because we're going to articulate these projects in depth in 2 weeks. Mike, myself, and Chris Nowicki will dive into these projects and dissect them, grade them, and all of that. But same thing with the other team, Cold Blooded. What was the most rewarding or the most fun for y'all in this project?
I'll go first. For me, this was my first time being a leader of a hackathon group as well as a developer group, focusing to build an application together for the MVP. And I definitely felt rewarded on what it's like to be a leader and what it takes to be a leader in regards to what steps I needed to take in terms of being a better leader and what steps I needed to take in order to continue being a good leader. And the mistakes I made and the successes that I had as a leader, I was able to really grow as both a person, as a developer, and as a person in general. So yeah, I would say that was definitely what I felt rewarded with this hackathon.
Anybody else?
I can go. Um, I felt rewarded being able to, like, because of my kind of role of us peer pressuring people into using Laravel. So I was like the on call. I felt like an on call like Laravel support. Like I was like on call trying to fix fires for backend or for front end, just kind of like going around. I feel like that was really rewarding for me because I was able to like just see how much I've grown as an engineer. Like the past 2 years, it's like the last time I did a hackathon was 2 years ago before I started working professionally as one. And I was like, oh yeah, I can still just like jump in and fix the issues when I don't like fully know like what we're using, but I can just easily figure it out. Like that Windows OS thing Rich and I were having the issue with. People were like the solutions we were finding on Stack Overflow were for the guzzler, and it wasn't the guzzler that was throwing the issue. It was like the Prism AI Gemini thing that was like having the SSL cert stuff. And I was able to just be like, let me just try this. Let me just like look at the syntax I'm getting suggested. Just try this. And it worked. And it's just like, okay, like that's the validating part to me, I think, of doing hackathons and stuff, as well as like working with other people and being able to like learn new things because I've never worked with AI before, even though I didn't specifically work with it, just being able to like kind of see it in work and like see Alex's stuff on it and all. So that's my part.
Sweet. Anybody else want to answer that question?
I'll answer it. I just really had a fun time just pair programming with M. We had a couple oh my god, I can't talk right now. Sessions, and it was just a lot of fun. It was just fun to be able to talk with code because I like talking in person. I'm not a big fan of texting, and it was just a really cool experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, peer programming is one of the best ways to learn, and especially from someone like M, she's experienced, and being able to peer with you and show you the ropes and certain things that can shortcut your route to finding answers is great. All right, on the flip side, what was the most challenging?
Am I allowed to go again, or?
Yeah, M's gonna go first though.
Okay.
I guess working async, we had a lot of difficulties with real-time brainstorming, which we kind of needed in this case because in conjunction we didn't have a designer, so it's another hurdle for us. And for me, I'm really used to working with already fleshed out artboards before they bring me in. So having to start with nothing, it was pretty much a challenge for me. But I'm glad I didn't have to go through it alone. I have a front end team, they stepped up. Ryan and Richard, thank you very much. And I have the support of the whole team as well. So yeah, it's a good learning experience. Also my first time with AI. So yeah, something I've been curious about for a long time. So I'm glad I had this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Richard?
Yeah, I would say going back to my reward or feeling rewarded, what I felt was the most challenging aspect of the hackathon was also being a leader because it was my first time taking charge of the group or taking charge of a group of developers and kind of leading the way on what direction I wanted to go towards with this application. And I think one of the biggest struggles I felt with that was juggling that with also being the designer of the group and kind of mocking the mock designs for the application as well as how I wanted it to look, the user flow of the application, trying to like determine how I wanted the organization flow to go in terms of the workflow for each of the developers and making sure that they had something to work on while also not conflicting with each other too much regarding like, stepping on each other's toes and all that jazz. So I feel like when it came to being the leader of this project, I really feel like I did make some mistakes along the way, but I also felt because I made those mistakes, I was able to really grow as a person and learn what is needed for a good leader for a team to really reach that success and cross that finish line when it comes to building an application and also kind of managing and delegating tasks to developers and making sure that they are focused and they are gearing towards the same goal in terms of reaching for the overall of the team.
Nice. I've been a horrible host. There's only comments that I don't post on screen. But in conclusion, Richard, Director of Engineering, confirmed.
I will neither confirm or deny that.
Future CTO of Laravel, Leah. But also got some praise from our friends too. Same thing again, Ellie, amazing. Great job, everybody. From Nick Taylor, love this. Great stuff, peeps. Well, Richard, you get a lot of like notifications here. Richard is awesome. Good job. We also Alex to Alex. Great work, Alex. You killed it. Alex to Alex, so funny. My last question for the group is: how was your experience working with AI? Were you excited to work with that at first? Were at the end of it? Do you want to continue to push the boundaries to learn more about AI?
So my experience with the AI, like I thought it was very cool, but I felt like just kind of like the path that we went down made it very complex, and not very user friendly. And so I would definitely use it in the future, but I think I would probably use like Node or Python and kind of go that way about it. So I didn't have to so much worry about the structure of the data.
Nice. Anybody else? I know Em mentioned that it was nice to be forced to use it because you've been wanting to dabble with it. But I know Leah, your mic is on, so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I know Richard and I were talking about it like at the beginning. We were like, I do not want to use AI. Like, I purposely stayed away from AI, and I'm like, Sashi hates us. Like, he just hates us, first off, that we have to do this over the holidays. And he's like, yeah, you have to use AI. So I was not looking forward to that to begin with. I want to do more with like AI stuff, AI and machine learning this year. I don't know if I'd go the route we did. I feel like if I was doing AI stuff, machine learning, I would just be like Python. I don't know if I've tried because like I think some of the stuff we might have had is like Laravel. We had to use Prism, but I think Prism's pretty new, so like documentation and trying to like find bugs and stuff, you know. But I will say like I feel like I learned a lot just from seeing Alex's stuff on it. And again, it's like what Alex said, like maybe the way we did it wasn't user friendly. Maybe it's experience that, hey, we could use this in the future, but maybe don't like use different technology or something. Not because he wrote anything wrong or anything, but just because like it's like when you don't know, you're just like, hey, let's use it this way. And it's like, oh, we shouldn't have done this. Like there's better ways we could have gone about this. So it was just educational for me. So I will cautiously use it in the future, but probably still be kind of scared of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean that's anything with technology, right? Or anything that you try new is it's not going to be perfect. So you just get it to work and learn from it, and then move on and learn how to do it better. And I can speak from a standpoint of AI and Microsoft, right? AI is huge. Every team is building an AI project. We're continuing to push the boundaries of AI, and it's the future. It's not to say it's going to take over everything, but to use it like this, where it's a Secret Santa app, and yes, you can go and grab random objects and like random items and stuff and throw it in as a suggestion. But by utilizing AI for that simple case, it makes a lot of sense. Then you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to go and filter and go through all these items on your own. Like AI could do that generation for you, saving you time, but also then you're more accurate because there are certain data points you can send it, and it can learn from the data that you send it to provide more accurate items so that individuals can be much happier with their gifts. We got a message from Dad Richard, Dad Andrew. Way to go, everyone! Huge accomplishments and great work.
Thank you, Dad.
Y'all don't know the story behind that. Well, that's for another day. Any last words from Cold Blooded?
Merry late Christmas, since this was a Santa app. I don't know. So
Yeah.
we're now doing our Santa app on January 10th.
Yeah, hackathon wasn't meant to get this done by that time, but now that you guys have it, you can definitely use it for next year. All right, so I'm gonna bring everybody else that's still here. Thomas and Alex from the other team is here as well. Thank you everybody for participating in this hackathon and putting your hard work into it. You know, any hackathon, it takes time, it takes collaboration, and it just takes the life out of you, you know, like here Nick says, like, do you have good snacks during the hackathon? That is the key to success. That and breaks and all that, right? Because the good thing was we didn't like push this in a few days or a week. It was a whole month or longer. I gave you guys extra time as well as you needed it, just to ensure that this was in good shape. The whole purpose of this was not just to do something different from the Grand Survivor project, but for other individuals to be involved and for you to utilize AI, because AI is, like I was saying earlier, it is moving fast. It's the future. It depends how you use it, but it can shave off a lot of time on suggestions and other things, right? And so when I came up with this hackathon, I said, well, AI is a hot topic right now. What can we do minimally so that everybody can kind of dabble into AI? And it was, you know, December and all that. So it's like, well, we'll just build a Secret Santa app. I know many people have used Secret Santa apps before, and it doesn't provide you with AI like suggestions, right? So these apps do, which is great because the next year around, these apps are going to be different from the other ones that are out there. Looking at your competitors, like this is gonna be something where like I want to use this now, you know, because I hate getting gifts. I'm like, oh my gosh, socks again? Like I don't want socks. I already have 1,000 pairs, right? Or like Alex said, I don't like gift cards. Like I don't like gift cards at all. Like give me something else, like something that you'll be happy with. Because Secret Santa should be fun. It should be rewarding, and it shouldn't be like, oh, guess what? This is my white elephant gift because I don't want it, right? Like it just makes sense. So I hope that each and every one of you enjoyed this hackathon. I know there was some ups, there were some downs, but overall, I read almost every message that you guys had in your channels, intentionally staying off and not interacting. That way, y'all can kind of work together as a team, understand how to collaborate, understand how to get over some humps and like debugging and all that stuff. That's why I instructed Mike and Chris as well, just to stay off, hands off, allow them to figure stuff out. This hackathon, I really want your groups and individuals to kind of just work together and work through things. So by seeing these projects, like I think we can see how much work was put into it, how much blood, sweat, and tears was ingrained into each one of these projects. And I want to thank you guys for even participating in this. I think it was a wild success. And next time around, like we can alter things because, like at first we had a few more people involved, and then some people dropped, and that hurt. And so the commitment there is tough, right? Like it would be nice to have that maybe start it sooner so that you can have a few more weeks or months to plan it and get it going. But overall, very happy with how these two projects came out. Next steps, we have a stream for the judges that we will most likely do. I think it's next Friday or next Friday. I have to confirm with Mike and Chris. But in the meantime, take a break, decompress, like work on whatever you want. Leah, go work on AI because I know how much you love it. And, and Jennifer too. She's gonna dabble into Laravel. See, we're getting people involved.
I told you, peer pressure. I'm good at it.
Peer pressure and AI. But other than that, yeah, we'll keep the channels open. like I would say this is don't, if you want to clean some things up, go ahead, but don't do any crazy feature work, because I want it where it's at. That way we can dive in, dissect it. You look at the UX, look at the code itself. It is what it is, right? It is what it is right now. But there's subtle little things that you're like, oh, like the text is wrong or the color is off. That's fine. But other than that, it is what it is. And it's not the end of the projects at all. Y'all can continue if you want to, but it allows us to know, like, okay, this is where we ended. This is where we're going to be judging where your project's at. So that said, it is the end of the night for me and this stream. Thank you everyone for coming. We currently have about 369 people viewing this stream from beginning to end. I don't know where it fell off, but that's great. A lot of people are watching. A lot of people are interested in this hackathon. So encourage you guys to share this out. It's recorded. Definitely like create snippets of yourself presenting. That's why I did like the presentation mode where it's just yourself and your presentations. That way we can do those snippets and cut them up so that you can utilize those for portfolios and showcase them out. But it's time to go. So thank you again, everyone, for coming and watching the hackathon presentations, and then each one of you here as well for participating in this awesome hackathon. I think you made Santa proud. I can't do the, oh, wait, where's Santa? Where's Santa? Wait, where's Santa? Oh, no Santa? Looking at you, Alex.
He's talking about you, Alex.
Dude, that Party City stuff, like it already stopped sticking, so I had to throw it away.
Oh, okay. He
I
was
love
dressed
Party
as
City
Santa
5.0.
earlier. We missed it.
Oh,
all right.
man.
Well, on to the next one. Thank you again, everybody. Watch out for the stream that the judges will be judging these projects, and I will create a post for that when I confirm the date. All right. Have a good night, y'all.